Today we have Thom Scott on the line today, and he is 20 years in the marketing industry, and he's actually worked with 47 different types of industries, which is fantastic. So he's got a wealth of knowledge. Now, in those companies that he's worked with, he's actually helped in creating $550 million in sales. So I'm so happy to have a couple of minutes of your time today and to share a bit of your wisdom and how you got to be the success that you are today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Tricia.
So could you tell us a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day, like what your company specifically does when it comes to marketing?
Day-to-day, I'm more or less a gun for hire. I'm a marketing guy who's basically gone into, I've been in agencies as a creative director and a marketer there. I've been in corporate environments working for Fortune 1000 companies, and I've been on my own as a consultant. And that's what I've been primarily as of late, is just working as a freelance consultant, working with individual companies, authors, speakers, and a lot of startups to help them really create their unique thumbprint in the world and to make money with what they love doing.
Perfect. Now, how did you get yourself to starting to do this type of business for others? What inspired you to get to be the person that you are?
Probably incredible frustration. It's being in situations. I loved advertising for what it was. That's where I first got my start. I actually was trained as a designer to begin with, so started in the art direction role in ad agencies, and I found that I didn't like being on that end of things where it was kind of like the project was already decided and I just had to kind of come through with whatever they wanted, as opposed to being in the strategic planning side. So if you're the type that goes into a restaurant and can't help but like see 7 things off the bat that they should change to make their business better, you're probably someone like me, because that's what it is. It was a frustration of wanting to be able to help at a higher level with people, to get them to be able to see a different way of looking at their businesses, things that they could do a lot simpler that would make them a whole lot more money, and serve the customers better. So it was really it's a frustration. It's kind of like when people invent products, they invent them because there's a need for the product and no one has it. And that's kind of how I am with marketing.
That's really neat. That's a great way of looking at it. Would you say that you kind of created your own dream job in a sense, or dream company rather?
I would say definitely. Now, I will say that I hit my head against the wall an awful lot when I was younger, and I should have stayed with companies a lot more when I was going through the industry as a young pup, because the credibility of someone who's got a gray beard and and who's worked in a whole lot of different industries, it's a whole lot easier, getting clients and serving them now than it was back then. So it needed to kind of have that combination of the preparation of life and the things that I've done meets the just plain age and experience that people will actually take you seriously.
That's great. Now, what would you say are some daily tasks that, as a leader, you've had to try to embrace to become the person that you became today? Are there things that you do daily that are kind of your non-negotiable items?
Absolutely. I am very much an ADHD type personality, and in fact diagnosed kind of off the charts. So I actually have to be extremely intentional about schedules and what I do in order to make sure that certain things happen. For me, it really starts with how you start your day more than anything. I always start my day with quiet time, some sort of exercise, whether it's walking, lifting weights, something like that, some sort of personal development type of thing, whether it's a book that I'm reading, whether it's the Bible, something along those lines, and journaling, taking time to kind of process what I'm going through and what I'm learning as I'm doing it, so that I can be very intentional about what I do. So everything kind of starts with that, and then it goes into plain business stuff. Am I planning out my day to make sure that I know not only the tasks I want to get done, but I have an idea of how long they're going to take, and I've given those slots there. And then when it comes to just the work of business, it's every day there's got to be some networking time. Every day there's got to be some marketing time. And every day there's got to be some production time. Those are really, to me, the three big prongs of your business are the networking, the marketing, as well as the production of what you actually have to do. So that's a huge part, and then it's how you finish up your day in the end. It's at the end of the day, do you reflect back and make sure that you've taken the time to kind of close up the office in the right way? Make sure that instead of just leaving everything completely in a shambles, both in your mind and on the desk, do you take the time to actually sit and make sure, is there any activity that I didn't get to that I need to roll over to the next day or get rid of it? And then, what are my, start to think about what are the big priorities for the next day. So definitely planning and being intentional is a huge part of what I do.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important for everybody to keep that in mind, that planning and being intentional when you're looking to either open your own business or be successful in whatever you're doing are huge factors. So thanks for that great share. That's a golden nugget for sure.
Sure.
Now, how much time would you say that you would spend on personal development? Because I know that that's definitely something that people can struggle with, myself included, that you get caught up in learning and being better and being more efficient, that if you spend too much time, it can get in the way of action. Could you talk a little bit about that?
There is definitely a balance to everything. And the reality is that, you have to take time to sharpen the saw. That's what I view personal development time as, is taking time to sharpen the saw, because you can sit there and you can try and do the work and do the work and do the work, but if you don't have your tank filled, you don't have your saw sharpened, then it's not going to work as effectively for you, and you can be much more efficient actually if you take the time to have the personal development time first. However, I've also seen on the other extreme where people take so much time and all that and they never get to actually doing their work, in which case sometimes I call it hiding behind preparation, where sometimes we don't take the steps we need to take because we're still outfitting our office, taking personal development time, maybe even talking to people, networking, but not actually asking them anything that has to do with your business. So never getting to the point where you call them for the question. Those are types of things that I've seen people do a lot. So it's really that balance. So for me, once again, being intentional, I like to make sure that I have a set time. So I typically take between a half hour and an hour a day. I would say that everybody should at least be able to take a half hour to fill their mind with some good stuff every single day.
Perfect. That's a great answer. I actually search for about a half an hour to an hour myself. So good to know that, being on the right scale of numbers. Now, do you keep yourself open to other streams of income, and do you have a reasoning behind this?
Absolutely, yes. I think that anyone I've ever met who is ultra successful normally has more than one stream of income. Some it's legitimately just through one particular business they run, but most that I've seen, there's at least separate streams of income as well. Now, the difference between a separate stream of income being like a shiny object that distracts you and one that really plays into what you do is how congruent it is with your goals. So I think for me, the big step is first determine, what are you here on this earth for? What is your purpose? Who are you trying to serve, and how are you trying to serve them? And if you have in mind first the group of people you're trying to serve and how you're trying to serve them, and in what way you're trying to serve them, if you have those things in mind first, then separate streams of income that are congruent with that play into that same thing, make every bit of sense in the world. In fact, it's what most businesses do. You look at businesses that are ultra successful even on the big corporate level, and generally they'll start with one particular way that they serve people, and then they'll add on other things and other things and other things that serve that same audience. That makes sense. What doesn't make sense is, if I were to have a lot of focus on B2B local businesses, but then at the same time I'm going to sell nutritional products, and at the same time I'm going to sell insurance and those types of things, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense from a time standpoint, because if you can cultivate one audience and you've got a passion for one audience and you want to serve them, bringing them separate things that add to your multiple streams of income is much more efficient.
I couldn't agree more. I think that everything, congruency is probably one of the biggest things that people have to tackle when they're looking at multiple streams of income or just being purposeful in life, to make sure that they're getting to the goals that they have. So thanks for that, Cher. That's awesome. Now, the last question I want to ask you is, if you were to give one piece of advice to a new and upcoming leader, maybe having to do with stuff that you had to go through on the way to your own success, what would be that piece of advice to guide people into the right direction, or the best thing that they could do to make sure that they're going the right way?
Boy, there's an awful lot of leadership lessons that are out there that are fantastic. But I'm going to say what I used to say to students I had when I was teaching at the Art Institute. I taught marketing design class, and I used to always start the class every single semester with the statement that 90% of life is working and playing well with others. And the reality is, I have seen absolutely brilliant people who would put me to shame and make me feel like a complete idiot. I have seen brilliant people that no one wants to work with, or that they burn through contacts and have they've got no depth of network over time because they just don't work and play well with others. They're divas. It's all about them. So, basically, if you can work and play well with others, and you can think beyond your need to think about what the other person might need and how you can align those two things, that's going to make a huge difference in the level of success. Your contacts, it's an old adage that it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I know that it sounds cliche, but I can't even tell you how true it is. It is amazingly true, and you will find that over time, the level of success you have in your businesses, and even just personally, the level of support you have in your own personal life comes from those relationships.
That's absolutely great. I couldn't agree more. I honestly wholeheartedly believe that it is definitely all about the relationships that we create. And now, if anybody were to want to get in touch with you, given the fact of your expertise, if people are looking for anything to help with their marketing needs of their company, how would they go about doing that? And is there anything specifically that you're looking to work on at this point?
I have pretty much, at this point, two specialties that I like to concentrate on more than anything, and that is local businesses. I do an awful lot with small businesses to help them position themselves against the large chain-type companies. Additionally, authors and speakers. I am incredibly passionate about helping people who have a unique message, a unique gift, a unique talent or expertise, get that out to the world in a big way. That's one of the things I did with Bob Berg, who wrote The Go-Giver. I was the marketer behind that, becoming a Wall Street Journal and Business Week bestseller. That's the type of thing I really love doing with authors and speakers. So if anyone would like to get in touch with me, they can get in touch with me at workwiththom.com. At the top, you'll see links to my Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and all those. So if you want to connect with me on any of the social media, I'm there. But it's workwiththom, and that's THOM.com.
Thank you again so much for your time. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. I look forward to getting to know you more and being inspired and hopefully inspiring you a bit as well.
Fantastic. Thanks, Tricia.